this. Turn my music down slightly. Okay, hey, welcome to episode 2 of our Stargate game. And time goes fast. So our first game last week, the team had their first mission together. After which they decided that they would need to request a medic. Not that anybody had any particular health issues, just
Almost had health issues.
almost had health issues.
Small timing issue.
So the team traveled to a planet P4X998. It was meant to be a second contact mission. But when they arrived, they found that the small village in which the Stargate was deserted. The Stargate itself is in a temple, obviously a Goa'uld temple, but not to any easily recognizable system lord. A little bit of investigating discovered that this was in fact a temple to Baelor, the One-Eyed. Looking around the temple, you found the hidden recess where their sarcophagus would have been, but it had been taken, wasn't there. Investigating the village itself, you found a few dead people in various states of bloat and decay, along with these human figures wearing gray clothing that seem to have highly advanced robots doing their manual labor. You made contact with a small group of survivors, and through various means deduced that this planet was the staging ground for an offshoot of the Ashen Confederation, way outside their known space. The Ashen, as far as Stargate Command knows, does not have gate coordinates for anything. In fact, Stargate Command deliberately sent them false commands, hoping to lead them into a black hole, given the fact that the Ashen are firm believers in sterilization of a populace to bring it under control for colonization. They are a very big do not touch from Stargate Command. The information you gathered from the computer seemed to indicate that this offshoot thought that the current methodology was too slow, needing to wait, a generation or two for the effects to take hold. They were hoping to speed up the process through biological warfare. On this planet, you also found a very, very small number of Jaffa working with the Ashen, which is highly unusual. These particular Jaffa had their forehead markings, their tattoos that denotes who they're loyal to, branded off their foreheads. But when Ares questioned one of them, they claimed to be working for Baelor. Ares' limited knowledge of the Goa'uld indicated that Baelor is dead. Baelor was killed by his underlings, and the worlds under his control were distributed amongst them. He had enough holdings that the amount each of them got was enough to promote them up the ranks. Specifically, that would be, I believe it's Morrigan, Dagda, and Lou. That is pretty much where we left off, unless either of the players who were there wish to weigh in on anything that they feel is important.
Not specifically weigh in, but at the end of last session, we kind of didn't do this at the beginning of the session. I don't know if we want to wait for people to come in, considering we've leveled, but we forgot to tell each other or ask each other what abilities we have contribute to the party as a whole. Because every character has stuff that they can do on their own, and that's fine. You don't necessarily need to share that. But if there are abilities that you have that other people need to be aware of that other people can use, that would be relevant.
Oh, the other thing that you discovered that was of import was that the dial home device on this world was set up to record the incoming coordinates, including the coordinates to Phoenix site. So you did manage to scrub those and stop it from recording anything else, but it was very nearly a severe security breach.
Another question, Chris. Obviously, the last mission is last mission, but do we have any intel that kind of like as an epilogue to last mission? Like we thought it might have been a biological contagion, and then we thought it might have been a chemical contagion. Has that been clarified at all?
It's been clarified through the information you got from the Ashen computer when you grabbed the hard drive, basically, that it's biological, and specifically, it is a biological that targets specific genome sequences.
But also fades away super quickly.
Fades away very, very quickly.
Quick question about the downtime between missions. Are we selecting a facility where we're spending time at?
Yes, absolutely. Everybody can do that.
Because the time we spend in a facility during our downtime actually gives us bonuses later down the road.
It does. It's one of the nice things about the game.
So, B, it's your first time. Do you have tons of questions or none?
Nothing that immediately pops to mind, but we'll see as we go, obviously.
Oh, and I had a question about your character based on the interactions. Is the goal here to make him kind of like super logical?
No, but generally speaking, any pacifistic approach does tend to lean a little bit more towards thought process versus emotional response.
So yes, so in the downtime you have been assigned a medic. So if B, if you would like to describe what they would know about your character, about Antreyu.
Yeah. Well, Treyu. Jesus, let me get my stuff out. So, Antreyu is a member of the Aturan species, which is an alien race that was interceded with by the Nox, preventing them from wiping themselves out many generations ago. By and large, the species, the alien species as a whole, does try and adhere to various different levels of pacifism, although modern times has seen that much more strained. They've Antreu, along with other members of his race, have come to help with Phoenix Sight. He's a known medical practitioner. Um, Generally speaking, he seems to be a bit more at home in the damp and the dank, like swampy areas, but doesn't mind traveling with everyone. Has a bit of an eye for botany, but not a dedication towards it as much as, say, one of the scientists might have. More of a insight based on that could help with herbalistic medicine approaches.
So with his With the med kits, one of the things about the game is they do allow you to kind of say like it's a med kit, but it's really, these strange starfish creatures that attack attached to your wounds. Is it more of like, would it be more of a conventional med kit or more of a like kind of nature based?
It'd be a bit more nature based, as with everything that Intrio carries. It has more of a natural feel and a form to it. So rather than your traditional like hypodermic spray item that you'd see in most science fiction, um, it might be say a light barb on the end of what looks like it could be an insectoid proboscis or something.
Just in case anybody ever tries to like use your med kit for anything.
Yeah, and it tends to have the pills he has are your sterile Tok'ra and Tari pills. They tend to have color to them based on the ingredients that they were originally formed out of.
Excellent.
I'm gonna get ready to say, are you going to leech me at some point in time?
All right, just as a disclaimer for anybody that may be watching now or in the future, the games here on Crucible Gaming are generally, we like to rate them R just in case, not so much for like sexual content or anything, but occasional bad language, sometimes some gore, sometimes some character trauma. So just be warned. This is like the Netflix version of Stargate.
Adult situations with adult characters, which might have adult responses.
Exactly. Other than that, as I told the players, we're going to be trying a little bit of an experimental approach to the game today. We're going to start kind of in media res in a moment with things being bad. And then we are going to probably cut to a debrief where the characters and the players are going to fill us in on what exactly happened to go from, hey, this looks like a nice easy mission, to oh my god, we're all going to die. So there's going to be probably some flashback scenes and some things of that nature. So it is entirely experimental. We don't know how it's going to go or how long it's going to last. But it seemed properly television-esque.
Chris, slightly out of character, I guess. What is the rank of the non-commissioned people or the non-military people? Are they all assumed to be equal?
Yeah, in that case, you generally default to specialization. So, like, if it's a medical thing and the commanding officers aren't around, then final decisions would fall to your team medic. If it was a science thing, it would fall to your scientist to hash out whose hypothesis is going forward, that sort of thing. While there are military officers around, though, chain of command is strictly adhered to. Civilians can advise, but they don't actually get to make the final decision. Largely because they're not the ones that need to answer to General Lawyer and Senator Kelly and Congress and all that fun stuff.
What was that? What was that quote from the book? Senator Kelly, you're a dick every day. Couldn't you have taken a day off?
Pretty much, yeah.
Senator Kelly, there's someone that needs to be dialed home to a black hole.
So it is very much, Stargate is 100% a military organization. Military protocol is expected to be followed. What actually happens out in the field, happens out in the field. But it's very important that the brass understands that proper procedure is being followed.
I thought you were going to say what happens in the field stays in the field.
Sometimes.
Which would make for very short debriefs.
That's true. All right. So with all that being said, the setup for before things start to get hairy for you guys.
I see Tegan is logged into Discord, but not our voice channel.
Yeah, it'll take them a few minutes. They're usually home from work at about 8:15 or so. All right. There's Tegan there.
Hi, sorry.
No worries. So, you guys are being sent to P2X543.
I love P2X543. Much better than P2X8499 or whichever one was the last one we did.
Or PX90.
It sounds tropical and a vacation destination.
It is a temperate forest, looking surprisingly like British Columbia.
Oh, flooded.
Ah!
The terrain is temperate forest. The gate is about 20 to 30 kilometers from a small village. The people are human, tribal hunter-gatherer type of society. Tech level is pre-Roman Britain. The initial foyer by Phoenix 6 did not detect any Goa'uld presence, but they did denote that there does seem to be some signs of religious belief amongst the villagers. So there's probably been Goa'uld before, but there's no presence currently. Your particular mission when you were sent here was that the inhabitants, upon initial long distance recon, seem to indicate that they have abilities to communicate over a long distance without the use of technology. They also seem to exhibit some sort of empathetic or emotional projection capability. So whether this is some unknown form of technology or something inherent to the inhabitants is unknown, but you are sent for a basically first contact mission with them. However, as we catch up with our team, you guys are running madly through the forest with a bunch of Jaffa chasing you. Matok blasts going off, trees being uprooted. There's easily half a dozen or so of these. And right now, you guys are essentially running for your life, trying to get to the DHD so you can get home.
I appreciate that we're fleeing from Rodney McKay.
It's actually not. It's if you zoom in, the pictures I got from this person does not exist. It does bear a resemblance to Dr. McKay.
Like he's got the same coloration, roughly close face. Not quite soft and round enough, but my initial inclination between the hair and the look is like, it's Rodney McKay.
Yeah.
Well, that may be a good idea as to why we're running. I mean, who wants to spend time with the guy?
All right. But for purposes of this, because it will be important, we are going to start off by rolling some initiative.
Can I mention my character spent time in the armory being disappointed about his very precise shot not doing any damage last time?
Absolutely, yes.
Considering this was supposed to be a first contact, my character was probably in the rec room. So,
Ooh, charisma bonus.
before you roll, everyone has an option to take my initiative.
What's your initiative?
I roll it with advantage. So,
Oh, nice.
Let's see.
Is there a button for initiative?
There should be one on your character sheet.
So we'll use yours. We'll definitely use yours.
Yep, no, Major Nesbitt seems to have the lead.
Question, since we are in media res, do any of us have anything like Eureka points or equivalent class things?
Sure.
I don't know why it won't let me roll a second time, but okay, I'll just add that in anyway.
You have 2 Eureka points. That's such a proficiency.
There you go. I'm assuming we're taking the 21.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. Unsurprisingly, I spend most of my downtimes in the medical bay.
All right. On this map, each hex is 10 meters. You can move 1 meter with your move, and you could move a second hex if you want to use your action to dash. So you guys are still... You're probably about 60, 70 meters still from the DHD as the Jafar are closing in on you. Since you guys all go on Nesbit, since he's a good field commander, we will just go in. Whoever would like to do a thing, feel free.
I mean, whoever's dialing the gate should be running right now.
I'm probably the one dialing the gate, which is why I asked if I have Eureka points, because it's faster depending on how many I have.
So you go first, Sam. I mean, Captain. Where's your character's name? Where did I put it?
Captain Tanner, or Sam Tanner.
Captain Tanner. That's right. You're going first.
Right, and sorry. I have this problem where I like to look at my character sheet and it completely covers the map. I'll try to find it.
You can move it off to the side and shrink it.
Yeah, if you double click the top of the character sheet, it'll just like minimize it, like window it. Incidentally, and if you're not, if you don't have the chat bubble or chat clicked, C will bring up your character sheet.
That helps. Sorry, what is, okay, my speed is 6.
Yep, you can move 1 or 2 hexes depending if you're planning to do anything else.
I think at this point, unless it's like part of essentially evasive maneuvers or trying to keep a low profile, I can't do anything until I get to the DHD.
Okay.
So I guess I just move forward and hope don't get hit.
Just one comment. I noticed our ammo count wasn't resetted from last game.
Yeah, you can manually reset that.
How?
If you click on the there's like a little edit feature. The little thing looks like a pen and a notepad.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
Or above that, there is a little reload button.
Perfect. Thank you. Sorry.
Yep, no problem. All right, so Sam takes off running towards the DHD. What about the rest of you?
So next, I'm assuming, is the engineer, in case the DHD is broken.
Well, my goal was to step back one space and take some cover and actually shoot. But if you want me running, just let me know.
Yeah.
Well,
Just due to the nature of the fact that these are like 10-meter hexes you guys are running through, everybody's automatically assumed to have partial cover, so +2 to your armor class.
Chris, the initiative bar is weird because they took my initiative.
Yep. I need to find a mod so that I can actually individually change initiative. I don't know if it's something I can do.
And Trey will keep pace with the captain just in case for now.
Okay.
So are we just running or are we shooting back?
That's up to you guys.
Are we being shot at?
Yes.
Yes. I feel like I'm Sam or Tanner is kind of working under the there I need to get the gate open. Other people can do covering fire.
Okay, so I went back one square or hexagon, and I'm just gonna do some cover fire.
Okay.
If I hit something, that's nice, but the main goal is just to slow them down.
Gotcha. Okay.
Hey, I'm here. Let me just jump in at Foundry real quick. Sorry about that, guys. And gals.
No problem.
So I guess I need to press shoot, roll that.
Yep.
Where's the attack button here? Oh, okay, got it. I'm gonna make just firing one bullet, so I get advantage on shooting.
Okay. So yeah, over the chat, if you just hit attack, it'll do it for you. Ooh, that is a solid hit.
So damage now?
Yep.
I get the facility bonus to this. What? The facility
Uh,
bonus.
currently it's just 1, so we'll just add 1 to whatever you roll.
Okay. Which
Okay.
would be 9.
Okay. Which one would you like to shoot at?
This guy.
So you kind of drop back a little bit into the trees, fire off a shot, catches one of the Jaffa in the shoulder.
Perfect.
That will leave us with Ares and Nesbit as you guys are running for your lives.
Considering Erie's is not up and running yet, I am.
I'm running.
I meant sorry. Fox is not up and running yet.
Let me zoom out here. Which way am I going?
You're spinning,
Ah.
spinning.
That's weird. I'm trying to zoom out.
Most should zoom you in and out.
Yeah, but if you're selecting your token, sometimes it'll just circle it.
Okay. Is Sam dialing the gate? Or making a run to dial the gate?
Sam is running towards the gate.
I am also running towards the gate.
Okay.
How far can I move?
2 hexes if you're all out running. They're 10-meter hexes because it's a firefight type of scenario.
Yep, I'm running. There's my 2 hexes.
Okay.
With the quip of... So, there's many of them.
Okay. Major Nesbit is going to do 2 things. One, he's going to activate tactical flexibility.
Okay.
I'm going to use Rush as a tactical feat that I don't have, but I can borrow once per long rest. Rush allows me, as a bonus action on my turn, I may allow a team member to take a dash action. So as a bonus action, Captain, you are taking another dash action.
Okay. So,
So that's another 2 squares then?
it's another 1 square. Perfect. So yeah, Sam is like running towards the gate. Conveniently, there are enough Jaffa to shoot at each of you.
I am going to run 1 this way to cover Ares, excuse me.
Okay.
And Chris, what is the rule? Like, I'm looking at the rule for automatic gunfire. Doesn't, like, that looks like a damage play, not a burst play, or like a covering fire kind of play.
Yeah, it's not covering fire per se. It's doing extra damage.
Okay, so I'm better off in actually picking these guys off one at a time.
Yeah, it adds to your it adds a tension die to the damage of your attack.
Okay, I'm going to instead do a burst because that's what they say and it's what commandos do, burst fire, right? So I'm going to, since Doyle is targeting the ones to the north, I guess he's trying to slow them down. I'm going to try to slow down the ones on the south area. So I'm going to pick one of them, do a burst attack with, I guess, 3 bullets, and then go from there.
Okay, perfect.
I swear to God, I pushed attack. Why is it not rolling? That's fantastic. Great roll.
Right. So you fire off some bullets. They do kind of like duck behind trees and kind of put their backs to the trees and all that sort of stuff. Their turn. So we're just gonna kind of go in order here. So against Sam. Oh. Okay. Against Nesbit. I don't know why that rolled advantage.
Clearly don't have advantage. My AC is 19.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll say that missed. I think I rolled the 6 first. Against Ataru. What is your AC there, B?
It normally 17, so it still hits with the +2.
Okay.
Darn me, only just noticing the write-up of that something.
Why did that roll 66? The hell?
It's because you
You guys
critted,
rolled
apparently.
crit, apparently, yeah.
Let's try that again. There we
Oh,
go.
that's much better.
There we go.
I like those odds.
And you do need to make a strength saving throw.
Is that a property of the Matok?
Yeah, it's got shockwave.
Oh shit!
It's a
We get it
DC
for-
10 dexterity save or be knocked prone.
Oh, Dex. Okay, perfect.
It's
Thank
dex.
Oh, not
Luckily we
that's
have-
different for me.
Luckily, we have a Gould expert here.
I mean, I know how to dodge Matok blasts.
Oh,
That's-
it looks so good for a moment.
So good, but not so much.
So the blast barely catches you, but it throws up enough dirt and everything that it kind of knocks you to the ground. Against Ares.
Why do our opponents not understand the concept of medics?
Ow. That hurts. I need to roll a DC 10, right?
Yes.
Okay. 1 second.
Chris, is it safe to assume the little yellow thing is the DHD?
Yes, it is. All right. So Ares also goes stumbling, falling to the ground.
Oh! He knocked me down.
And last one. All right. So there's like just like a hail of Matok fire from these guys.
I took 11 points of damage. That hurt.
As they close in on position. On the plus side, though, Ares, you would know that the Matok staff does not have a. It's not a rapid fire weapon. It takes a little bit of time to build up the charge.
He's got to reload. But ow.
Yeah.
Gonna stand up. And then say something quippy.
Catchphrase.
Irony. It had a failed bluff roll with these Jaffa too.
Has no one seen Free Guy?
Oh, I missed it. Do these ones have their god symbol wiped off of them too, or did we establish which kind of Jaffa we're fighting, or whose Jaffa we're fighting?
These ones, they've got like dog-shaped helmets, not like a jackal, not like a Nubis, more like a mastiff almost.
Are they white with red ears?
They are not. They're metallic, but
I'll culture check this later.
absolutely.
Yes.
Maybe you can offer them some cookies and a scratch behind the ears.
Yeah, I'm gonna yell, Doyle, get him up! I'll hold him back.
Okay. And just as you yell that out, and as Sam is running towards the gate, there is a whoosh as the gate opens.
Well, that's shitty as hell. We need an outbound gate.
That's inconvenient. Shut the gate.
And coming out of it very rapidly, you see what looks like a modified death glider. Its wings, instead of like the kind of downward swoop, it's like one airfoil wing that goes over, so it's just barely small enough to fit through the gate. Along with some Jaffa troops, and a what looks like a female warrior of some sort, just striding amongst them and firing Matok blasts over your head at the other troops.
Well, fuck.
Well, I'm not looking at gift horse in the mouth on this one. That's what you Tari say, right?
I didn't know Free Jaffa had death gliders.
I don't know if they're free Jaffa.
That's kind of where I'm going with that.
These ones have their helmets have like a stylized crow face, and
Oh God, turf war.
and Sam would be close enough that you can see the woman has like tribal face paint that looks like a crow with its wings spread out, kind of like the wings going across her eyes, the tail feathers going down her nose, the head on her forehead.
I know what I'm doing when I stand up.
Right. Around to you guys.
Before I'm sure, just a quick question before anyone asks. Does the Stargate power down, or is it still open? Like, can we make an outbound wormhole at this point?
It'll basically, at the end of this round, it will have basically closed back up again.
Oh, that's good for
Yeah.
timing of movement.
Yeah, it'll close up at about the time Sam gets to the DHD.
Well, we don't know yet.
Yeah.
Then I yell, Sam, close that gate! Get us the hell out of here!
Working on it. I assume we still have time. We're still doing turns to actually get there.
We are, yes.
So who's first?
Whoever.
Okay, I guess I'll go first. So there's hexagons with no vegetation. These offer no cover, right?
No, they still have some like scrub cover and stuff, and you're trained military, so you know how to use it.
Okay. Then I'll step back one square or hexagon and shoot at Mr. Jaffa number 3 that I shot at. But I'll do a 3-round burst this time.
Okay.
Sorry. What's the attack roll again?
Yeah,
here, got it.
Got it. Okay, perfect.
Interesting thing on those attack rolls, I can't click on somebody else's to roll for myself. I have to bring up my weapon.
Correct. Oh, that is a solid hit. So that's going to add a D6 to the damage.
Ooh, nice. So 1d6, and I might as well write +1 for my time spent in the armory.
Yep.
So that's 13.
All right. Shooting the same guy again?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, he kind of slumps back across against the tree. He's still moving, but much slower than everybody else. He's definitely very, very badly wounded.
Reconsidering life choices.
He needs a sarcophagus.
Not quite yet, but
The symbiote will still take care of him right now.
And while this is going on, the Jaffa that have come in, they're moving out kind of towards the south, kind of giving you a little bit of a berth. They don't even look at you. And the Death Glider just basically streaks overhead and like lays down a bunch of staff cannon fire.
Chris, can I stand and make my culture check on who this beautifully tattooed woman is?
Absolutely.
Excellent. I will stand, so I'm no longer prone. And then I'm going to roll, I'll call it culture, because that seems like a thing I would do. So that I know who I'm talking to.
Keep your head down!
I need to say, out of character, I'm vibrating in mythology nerd right now.
As it should be.
I'm going to go with I got nothing.
Okay. You're pretty sure this is either Morrigan or Bave. You're not sure which one.
I stand up and dust myself off and look presentable.
Okay.
Sort of, as I can't keep running because that's my action, but make myself look presentable. Here's some, I'm gonna guess, gold in front of me. I should, be there and presentable.
All right.
You get yelled at for keeping your head down again.
And Treyu will disappear from sight and move a little bit.
Okay.
As I did read that I'm able to interact with friendly targets and not break my invisibility.
Yeah, it's a really nice invisibility, actually.
Yeah.
So for those of you that have never seen it before, Antrayo just disappears from your visual. You've probably like heard about it. I mean, part of the mission briefing, you would know that some of the Aturan are capable of this, but you've never actually seen it, and it's
By the way, your medic can disappear.
I, for one, am glad that the major decided to requisition us a medic.
all right. Major, you're the only one left.
Technically, I need to move still too.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah, let her move first. I'm going to pick up the rear.
I guess we'll do the 2 squares, which will get me there. Unless I have to be on the DHD square.
No, you can get close enough. That's fine.
All right, so yeah, I'm up against it, and we'll start. I will start trying to interact with it, which I think I have to do next turn because I did two squares.
Yep. Gives me time to find the DHD rules. All right. Major.
I'm going to move 1 square. As a bonus action, I am going to allow Ares to take a dash action to move 1 square. So you can be all nice and prim and proper, but you're freaking moving. I'm not leaving you behind.
Okay.
Ares, are you going to move, or Eris, are you going to move 1 square? He might have disconnected. Chris, can you move him 1 square? Is that fair?
Yep, I can do that.
Yeah, Fox is on mute, so...
Oh, did you move me? Sorry.
Yes, I dashed you with my rush ability.
Oh, right, because I stood up. Good, thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you for getting up. I'm going to shoot the one I just pinged, Chris, the leader, or the one that's that dude.
Okay.
Same thing, burst attack. I am a shitty shot today.
So the Jaffa, I mean, it's not that you're necessarily missing. You're kind of keeping them somewhat suppressed. I mean, you're the heroes. You know, you're not heroes if you miss all the time. So you're basically just kind of firing over their heads and stuff. Trees are splintering. It looks impressive as hell.
I shoot trees. They duck back and cover. They slow down. I like it. Let's keep going.
Exactly. Okay.
So they're dashing.
And they are, because they need to wait for their weapons to recharge.
Oh, that's interesting. Now we know that they need time to recharge.
Yep. And as they kind of rush past you, you do see the woman, the obvious Goa'uld that is leading the attack. She basically clutches this medallion around her neck, and you see this shimmer appear around her.
Oh, fuck.
Doyle, smoke!
Where?
At the DHD. Let the smoke at the DHD.
Yeah, cover what the captain's about to enter in.
Can't the guys behind not actually hitting anything do that?
We didn't give him grenades.
What?
Just pretend that's like, Death Glider shots.
Wow, that was a cool little green effect.
Can't figure out how to change the color.
I'm just happy they're not shooting at us.
Yeah. But yeah, the ground behind you is getting like just torn to shreds by this thing. Back to you guys.
So I guess I move back 1 square and try to throw a smoke grenade around the DHD. Is that possible?
Yes.
Is there a check for that?
It would be
I think there is good.
Yep. It's like a dex. It's a weapon proficiency attack. I don't think we did up a weapon for your thing, so just make a dexterity check and then add 2 to it.
Okay, so situational bonus 2, and
Yep.
it's a normal check.
Yep. Right. One sec here. I may actually be able to.
I mean, I do hope that for a non-moving target, 20 was enough.
Yes, it would be.
The grenade scatters.
This is not 40k. It's not going to randomly move towards the board edge. I hope.
Oh, great. That's going to be fun to work in.
On my action, I'm going to use my. I'm going to 1 step into the smoke cloud, and 2, I'm going to activate my level 2 scientist superpower, which is for Sam. I'm going to use the apt analogy and describe to Sam the constellations of the Phoenix site in clear astrology symbols as a way to give her a bonus of threat die bonus on her intelligence or wisdom check that she's going to need to use to, dial the gate.
Are you describing the chevrons like that one looks like an angel and stripper dragon and bird facing left?
No, it's when Leo is in Sagittarius with a Capricorn rising sign, like that kind of stuff. As I dash my 1, 2.
I'm an astrophysicist, not an astrologist. Damn it!
Are you yelling that right beside a gold?
She doesn't speak English.
Do you know?
Sure. But I'm talking in allegory. There's no way she's going to understand Tauri astrology symbols. I'm talking about Gemini and Capricorn. What does that have to do with the constellations on the gate? They are not going to know that.
They can aim for your voice. Keep it down.
Everyone definitely does hear the rip on a certain Star Trek line, though.
All right.
I have a question. When I'm at the DHB, regardless of the mansplain that's going on, is this one that when we pull up, does it show the coordinates that were previously in it?
No, it does not.
Okay, that's nice.
So, what's the difference between scuffed and wounded?
Scuffed is not at full above half. Wounded is below half.
Okay. It looks like my Tok'ra ally here is scuffed. Just scuffed.
Right.
There's no mechanical difference between scuffed and wounded, right?
It makes a difference for what I roll to heal him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And there are some abilities that will key off it as well.
So how exactly does using the DHD work? You said I can have Eureka points. I'll let you figure out how many I have, and that reduces the time spent. I've got the mansplaining to irritate me into better efficiency. How does that all work together in terms of time and rolls? Because we haven't actually done this yet.
Right. So it usually takes about 18 seconds and a difficulty 12 engineering or science check.
All right. So
and then for every Eureka point you spend, you reduce the time by 1 round.
Right. And how many seconds is a round?
6.
Okay, so it's 3 rounds normally.
Yep.
You said I start with some amount. I'm gonna assume it's probably 1 because we're not trying to break the game.
Yep.
And I need to make a science check.
Or engineering, your choice.
Science is higher, and I get a tension die bonus, which
is a D6.
Okay.
did that Jaffa or Gould step into our smoke, or did we accidentally get them in the smoke?
You accidentally got her.
Okay, so I'm rolling that plus, and it's normal.
Yep.
Has anyone ever kidnapped a gold?
Not successfully.
Yes, but it's very difficult.
So I got a 24.
All right. So yeah, so Sam starts hitting the coordinates. Starts to power up. You guys can hear the gate moving, the chevrons locking into place. Very quickly. It seems like she has a very keen, intuitive understanding of just how exactly this thing works.
Is 14 enough to treat my friend?
I don't think you need to make a roll. I think you just need
Okay.
to use an action.
Okay.
Who are you?
In reference to proficiency bonuses.
Who are you healing there, B?
Oh, I don't know. A Tok'ra that likes to quip.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. I definitely got hurt. But I can regenerate. But thank you. How much do I
Yeah.
get healed?
Second. Not plus 32, by the way. So it's plus 3. So that's 8.
Plus 2 more because you get the idea proficiency bonuses a minute.
Yeah, I was including that in that.
Oh, okay. Perfect. So yeah, so what does your healing up this scuffed individual look like?
Well, having recently experienced a glancing blast myself, I reach in and pull out what could loosely be described as a banana leaf with some unguent on the inside of it when I peel off the protective layer and slap it on the blast wound.
I like the cool, minty, fresh feeling.
From my perspective, it looks like smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see some shapes moving in there, but that's about it.
I mean,
How much did you
technically,
have?
technically, I lost sight of the gold. I don't know where it is.
Yeah. Right. Who hasn't actually gone yet?
Doyle and I have yet to go.
Perfect.
Doyle threw a smoke grenade.
All right.
Move.
I move one to square.
Okay, well then I am going to move. I'm going to shoot and then move. I'm going to try to take out the one that's closest to Doyle. That's not in line of sight of the death glide.
Okay.
To that guy.
Okay.
Burst attack again.
Ooh.
There we go. That is a thought. As he kind of like pokes through the trees, you get a bead on him. So add a d6 to your damage.
Yep, 10 damage.
Perfect. It gives you guys a chance to see just like how important the tension die are. Because if this was like a d10 scene, then it would be adding a d10 to your damage.
I also give Doyle a dash so he can move into the smoke.
Dash means what? 2 squares? 1 square?
One
What is it?
square. One square. It's like an extra move.
What's the rules about shooting from smoke?
It would basically, I would bump their partial cover up to full cover, so their AC would be +5 instead of +2.
You know what? This is gonna hurt. Might as well move back.
All right, so as you guys kind of retreat into the smoke, there is from outside you can hear like matocks going off, trees shaking. I'm just going to attention dice only a d6. So yeah,
Ribbon devices going off. Ira is screaming.
Yeah, it is. It is
less screaming, but more.
So yeah, it is chaos out there, but the newcomers don't seem to be paying any attention at all to you, and the ones that were chasing you are very, very occupied. And then on the next round, there is a whoosh as the gate opens.
I enter our codes in so we don't get irised.
All right.
Don't want to splat.
So Ares basically pulls out the door opener, sends the codes, and you guys can whoosh out.
I say very loudly in the smoke, doors open, drinks on me.
I mean, I'm still 3 turns away from that door.
Yeah, but they're not attacking you; they're occupied, so you're good. Unless you want to hang around for some reason.
Well, I don't know what that Gould is going to do in the smoke, so.
Okay.
You want to kidnap her?
Yeah. Yeah, you do see her moving through the smoke. She seems to be like following along with her troops, as it were. She doesn't seem to. It's kind of like when you walk over your lawn, you don't really pay any attention to the anthills.
We're spurious to her goal.
Yes. Like she doesn't like when they entered, they gave you like a cursory look at best. There's more of eyes on the prize.
These are 10-meter squares, right? We can occupy the same square as someone else.
Absolutely, you can. But yes, unless anybody deliberately wants to hang around for a bit, you guys can exit.
Oh, I'm gone.
Now that I'm unseen, I can wait to make sure everyone else crosses through.
Well, if I can't see him, I count the heads that go through the gate. I'm like, where's the medic?
I mean, if we're no longer involved in the fighting, why don't we watch and eat popcorn?
If anybody wants to hang around for a sec, you certainly can.
Well, we can't see too much past the smoke. How long does it take for it to clear?
It starts to thin out fairly quickly. Smoke doesn't hang around forever.
Plus the whoosh of the gate probably started to dissipate it.
Plus the whoosh of the gate. So through the smoke, you can see that the incoming Jaffa seem to be more capable than the dog-headed warriors.
They also have a death glider.
They do have a death glider.
Chris, I'm gonna make my knowledge check now on the other Jaffa, not the Jaffa, the Morgan ones, but the other one.
Yep. Okay. You do have one Eureka point from your failed roll earlier.
Anything we can eat. It's delicious.
I just used the advantage roll.
Okay. Those dog soldiers represent Arwan. Or Aron.
Arwan.
Weird Welsh pronunciation.
And the other one's either Morgan or otherwise. Which one? Because you gave me 2 choices last round. Which one is the enemy of this one? In the history books or in my Gual knowledge?
Neither, both.
Awesome.
# System Lords.
Yeah.
System Lords. Every time.
On one side, we have the Rodney McKays. On the other side, we have the Samwise Gamgees, right?
Yeah. To the best of your knowledge, there's no alliances. You do know that Morrigan is involved in a bunch of alliances. She is very much like a central political figure within the System Lords. Even your previous consort Isis had dealings with Morrigan. This other one, you've heard of them in rumors, but they are very much an outlier when it comes to the System Lords.
How common is it for a Goa'uld to actually lead an attack like this?
Almost never happens. They are long lived for a reason.
And on a technological side, how long will this gate stay open if we don't go through it?
26 minutes.
Yeah.
No, that's the maximum, but that assumes that you keep trying to push stuff through, right?
Yeah. It actually, when you go through, it closes on the other side. Like they hit a button, boom, close it. So, you guys have opened the gate, you've sent your codes through, they will keep it open for you for as long as possible until everybody's through, or you tell them to close it.
I'm still concerned. So, B, I'm assuming that your character makes himself known before he comes in.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Kind of tap someone on the shoulder, it's like, it's okay, I'm here.
As soon as he's accounted for, I put my arm around him. I jump through the portal with him.
Yeah, once it's clear that the major's waiting for the head count, it'll be like hand on the shoulders, like returning now.
Okay, perfect. So yes, the last thing you guys do see though before you leave is you definitely see the Goa'uld is basically almost like two-weapon fighting with a Matok in one hand and a ribbon device on the other.
Like he's one-handing a Matok?
She is, yes.
She is, sorry.
Yes, and appears to be like a highly skilled warrior. To the point of using the ribbon device to basically launch somebody into the air and then shoot them with the plasma blast as they're falling. It's almost poetic if it wasn't for the fact that you don't want her attention turned towards you.
I get a feeling she's gonna spin that Matok to reload it one-handed as well. Jesus Christ.
No, but it does seem to be recharging faster than her Jafa's.
She's got the deluxe version.
Yeah, it's like, man, did she train with Braytak?
I don't know. Maybe Braytak trained her, or the other way around.
Yeah.
She trained Braytak.
I think she trained Braytak, to be honest.
But with that, you guys arrive back safely at Stargate or Phoenix site. And get a little bit of a breather, a little bit of time to rest and relax before you know that you're going to have to do a debrief.
We roll out of there under fire with Matok's staff blast coming through the portal as well, I'm assuming.
Yes. You're definitely coming in hot.
I yell, close the gate, close the gate!
So yes, so as they basically shut down the gate as soon as everybody is through on the major's order. You look around, a couple of your people, everybody is dirty. You've got that kind of cinematic, soot luck all over your face. You look like you've been through a little bit. The general lawyer just looking says, looks like you had some trouble there, Major. Take a few moments to decompress and then let me know what happened.
Yes, sir.
Talk about being caught between a Mattock and a hard place.
Nass looks pissed off, and he storms off into the dressing room and is throwing gear into his locker. It's his first contact, and it fucked up.
I'm definitely going to have a shower.
Hey, Doyle didn't get hit and actually did a good job. He's going to go maintain his gun and clean it.
And
You know
Trey
that
looks
scene?
around and just basically goes, I don't know if I'll ever understand them, but it is early days.
You know that scene in every football movie when the quarterback has made an interception pass and he goes back at the end of the game,
Throws the helmet into the locker, starts
Exactly.
having a fight.
That's exactly it. That's what he's doing right now.
So everybody gets a few moments at least before you are expected to go to the debriefing room. Oh, I apparently did not make a token for the general. Easily fixed. We will use this guy. All right. So you guys are after some time, basically make your way to the briefing room. The way this is going to go, this is going to be a chance for you guys to kind of fill in the narrative between, hey, go make first contact with these people, and what we just went through. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. General Lawyer will ask questions as things go on, but this is largely a chance for you guys to basically to roleplay your characters, to throw in some insight into your characters, to make up some stuff about this world that you visited, so on and so forth. Make sense to people?
Absolutely. So Major is going to start.
Yep.
Mass is going to start, and he's going. It was going so well. We made contact with the natives, and they were open to discussions.
Some of them were more open to discussion than originally expected. That should have been our first clue.
Honestly, some of the natural ingredients found on the planet could have influenced their attitudes as well. Or more accurately, if their sudden switch to hostility.
Honestly, I didn't even notice much. I was just happy there was no Hashin over there.
We should have known better. How did we miss the signs?
I believe her name was Farah?
And to be fair, in the past there has been success in offering offering chocolate. It just went a little bit better than expected and a little bit worse all at once.
I was unaware of its chemical composition would have such an effect on their biology. We might need to pause on our feeding chocolate to the how you Tari say natives.
But why did you give this to the mayor's daughter?
You say gave. I say she helped herself in more ways than one.
Look, we're not here to point fingers. Regardless, it started well, and then it got really well, and then it went, well, what's the right word?
Horizontal?
I believe you Tari say perpendicular.
That doesn't make its way into a report. We just say stuff like inappropriate advances were made.
Chocolate is used in courting rituals in more than one culture.
It has an interesting effect on their biochemistry based on their normal diet, that's for sure.
Look, regardless, it was considered a proposal. And when we had to say no, there was a misunderstanding. Well, that compounded the issue.
So you're saying you accidentally proposed to someone?
Yeah, if that is how it is presented, I suppose that is a way it could have been taken. That is not the intent or the. When I said share my chocolate, I did not believe that was that was not my goal.
Look, and before we realized what was going on, there were certain promises made. I mean, we said we wanted to work with them and we wanted to work towards an allegiance. And, we said all the right things. But with that subtext, I think they were looking to marry into our military organization through Iris.
Well, that would give them a certain amount of protection against the system lords.
I do believe you are right. That is, I think, what the intention was. And when the mayor discovered that wasn't our intentions, might be when he sent his message to the Jaffa.
I'm intrigued that he was able to send it while smiling at you.
Well, there was the high priest standing behind somewhere in that room, right?
Oh yes, there was definitely a high priest in the room.
There was a lot of smiling in that room.
When you say high priest, you mean somebody from the village? Or
Well, yeah. I mean, they
Or
needed to.
perhaps a shaman would have been more accurate, but nonetheless.
let's see.
Some religious guy.
But they were open. They were obviously open at the beginning to stand up against the system lords. But when they were offended by us, they quickly turned back and hid under the coattails of the Jaffa.
I mean, we didn't see any Jaffa garrison over there. Where did the Jaffa come from?
They had to have come to the gate.
So as you guys are relaying this part, we will transition flashback wise. To a quaint little village. All peaceful and quiet like. So as you guys make your way from the gate through the woods, following the preliminary scouting report of Phoenix 6, you can hear, there's definite sounds of like, children laughing and dogs barking, that sort of thing. And as you kind of make your way through the trees, you do come across like a very small village. It's like 4, maybe 5 huts, kind of straddling a small river. The river's only maybe 30 feet wide at its widest point. And you see there are people out and about.
I guess I start.
Question: is our medic invisible?
Not currently.
No, this is a first contact. We don't want to scare them by him appearing later.
Well, they do seem to enjoy a nice pastoral lifestyle.
Yeah, it's very very low tech, but kind of homey. What kind of you notice is it feels peaceful.
So are we in a flashback, or are we using the flashback to help recount what we're doing, what we told?
Little bit of both. So basically we are going to flash back to kind of like your first contact with the folks at the village.
Hi.
One of the gentlemen kind of looks at you and says, "You're not." Hello.
Hello, and no, we're not. We're travelers. We're looking to establish some peaceful relations with other people from around here.
You're more than welcome. We were. You look
Is
like
there a place? Oh, sorry, go ahead, Chris.
you look like you've traveled a far ways.
And we are thirsty. Is there a place where we may rest ourselves?
Even if not, thank you for your hospitality.
I'm sure we can find you something to drink. Do you need food as well?
we would welcome food if you would share.
And we're willing to trade some. Again, all about making good first impressions with friendly neighbors.
Well, that's most kind. Everybody give me a insight check.
I got none.
Iris and Treyu. The people seem welcoming, but they're definitely closed off. There's like a, not so much that they're putting on airs of welcoming, but the two of you can tell that they're not as open as they would be if it was just them. Like they're not laughing and joking amongst themselves, that sort of thing.
So they're approaching us with like not suspicions but wariness. Like
Yeah, like wariness is good.
this isn't, of course, and this isn't like how we dealt with other first contact missions.
Yeah, first contact missions are always iffy because you never know how somebody's going to respond, but they do seem welcoming enough, and they're not a big enough village to have anything resembling an inn or a tavern, but they do lead you to one of the larger houses, and they kind of like, set up some extra chairs, and they bring out some you're gonna call it ale, definitely some sort of like brewed fermented product, and some local meats and everything. You guess that they were probably going to be sitting down to lunch anyway, so they're just kind of sharing what they have.
Well, that's mighty kind of you. Here, we brought a few things to share ourselves. So we came as a first contact. So my assumption is we have one of those welcome gift basket thingies.
Yeah.
Never leave the gate without it.
And we're going to trade with that, share with them, and say we're like you noticed, we're travelers. We're interested to know what it's like around here, how you came to be here.
I was born here. My parents passed away a couple of years ago. And some of the others are like, born here. But one of the gentlemen's like, I came, I met my wife, and he gestures to one of the women. I met my wife a couple of years ago. There was a fair with some of the other villages, and so I moved here so she could be closer to her family.
Well, that's great to hear. You guys look like you've got a nice little fishing community here.
We do some fishing, some farming, some hunting. It's a simple life,
but quite rewarding in and of itself.
Chris, what's the SOP on approaching them about gold? Like, I'm gonna let Iris bring that up, but
Stargate has no prime directive.
No, I get that, but I'm guessing I don't walk in and say, "Hey, are you being oppressed by a horrible, evil Gould? Sign up now to the resistance." Like,
have you been oppressed? Do you know what that even means?
There's a bit more of a nuanced thing about it. Like that's hence the why Erie's like, let's all take a drink and talk together. And so you breach the you do the whole like give food, receive food, make people realize you're not trying to take over their thing, get them into a more talkable manner than sort of look around. If I look around, Chris, I don't see any of the hallmarks of any sort of like Gould oppression anywhere. I could scan them, I suppose, but that's probably not the best plan.
Make a perception check.
I got one of them. Perception, not my best. Here we go. I'm gonna use one of my advantage dice on this.
Okay. You look around. You don't see any signs. They definitely don't seem oppressed. A bit boring to you, maybe, but definitely not oppressed. But you do see that there is some. There is like a little shrine in the house.
Shrine to who?
That is a shrine to. Second, pull up the pronunciation of the name.
The Great Gould System Lord Yo Mama.
It is.
I hate dealing with your mama.
It is a small shrine to Aron. Aron. Arwen? Arawn.
Arwen. I see. I will casually mention to the major, to us, I will actually just say that is a lovely shrine you have there.
It is always best to keep the dark gods appeased.
Yeah, about that. We're not a big fan either. But it's nice to see a community like yours. It'd be interesting to see what we can share and learn from each other.
Perhaps. Which village are you from?
We're from a place called Haven.
It's back there, and I gesture vaguely towards the Stargate.
It's quite a distant journey that way, though.
Do you travel far, or do you stick close to your lands?
No more than a day or two. The woods can be dangerous.
Oh, we didn't see anything particularly threatening. Is there anything that we should have looked out for that we were lucky to have missed?
There are some larger predators in the woods. They are primarily nocturnal, though.
Oh, thanks for the heads up. Is there someone who we should talking about establishing trade, or is that something that you guys do individually with your wares? I'm basically angling to see if we can speak to the mayor without saying, "Take me to your leader."
The gentleman that first met you says, for what little trade we have, I suppose you could speak to me. I'm the speaker for the village. My name is Ninian.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Ninian. I am called Iris.
You look rather young to be a leader. Congratulations. You must be very skilled.
I am, I suppose I am the best at talking with people. And yeah, he doesn't look terribly old. He's like maybe late 20s.
I was assuming by the picture.
Yeah.
And actually, I thought M here was the one we were talking about, so he looked even younger. But yeah, okay.
Yeah. So what sort of goods do you have to trade?
So we brought some samples here. Erie's has a few things. I mean, let's share in some food, and we can taste some of the things that you have. You can taste some of the things that we have, and we'd love to learn more about you. Do you have a place we can break bread?
Certainly. He leads you inside the house.
Is he reluctant to let us in? Is that why he's like, I don't know? Or is it because he just didn't know where to go?
It's more a lack of space, really.
We can hang out on the balcony if he wants. Like, I'll make it clear. Like, if he brings out a few chairs, he's got looks like he's got one of those outside balconies, and we can all kind of.
We can take tea on the veranda.
There you go.
So you guys have a lovely meal. You do notice that they do say a blessing before the meal.
To their dark god Arwen.
Yes. It's where they refer to them as the dark god, but judging from their blessing, it's not like a fearful relationship. Specifically, I found this really handy prayer on the internet.
They didn't look like they had internet.
They didn't. The storyteller does.
It's funny what you can find, though, when you're in the boonies sometimes.
True. So it says, "I call to good Arwen, Lord of the Afterward, Lord of the Last Breath. To the furrow and the grave you hold the deed. Older than old, fairer than fair, your hounds give voice in the night, in the dark, crying the dead to Anwen. Patient one, yours are the roadways twisted and turned, yours the footsteps of the lost, yours the dark paths that lead from all places to one end. Arwen who waits, who knows the worth of a good friend, whose hall holds all that lies buried in the cold earth. May your might be remembered, your fame regained, your name again spoken in reverence and awe. Arwen of the Tangled Tales, I praise and honor you."
I lean over to Eries and I'm like, "Did you get that?"
There, post it to the
Yep,
Discord.
I got it.
So here we call this miracle bread. It's very nice and toasts very well.
It's quite wondrous how it comes out in preparation. It's almost cake-like in its consistency, however.
So that we kind of like cut back to the briefing room. And there's going. It sounds like the initial contact was awkward, but not dangerous.
Well, we normally expect people to question us based on our looks or, who we serve. But this was much more boring.
Stranger danger.
They did seem a bit reserved.
They were wary of the outsiders.
And they also seemed to be wary of their own god. They were fearful and awful in a certain way. I mean, things started a little bit awkward, but they progressed. We got to talking, and they seemed interested in seeing what else was out there. Like I said, everything was going well. We introduced the chocolate at the end of the meal, though.
And you didn't see any sign of Gwald or Jafar.
Honestly, I was about to write this place off. It didn't look like it had any interesting technology. Looked like they hadn't seen their god Arwen in a long time, so no leads to Jaffa. And they had a simple community with a few towns further in. It didn't seem like that big of a deal.
It really didn't. They seemed
Yeah.
very simple.
Even the structures were nothing to look at. Some bricks, some wood, nothing special.
The young male that wed one of the local females and moved sounded like one of the largest events that had happened within recent years.
Did you find any evidence of the technology or powers that Phoenix 6 indicated may be present?
Not yet.
Well, there was that interesting timing when you were offering them another product that the speaker might not have been interested with, but shortly afterwards, another member of the village came.
Do you think it's? I mean, if that's the case, it could also be possible some of our actions were deliberately misinterpreted.
I mean, I don't know. They don't seem to get a lot of like strangers, so it's not like they had a standard operating procedure to marry their people off as soon as strangers come in. I don't know what triggered the whole thing. It just kind of evolved from that chocolate discussion, a stranger that come in, then the leader was being whispered to on the side by that priest or shaman or advisor person, and then things kind of got out of hand.
So I will find my thing. We will flash back to the village. I really should have made like an interior map, but I did not. So,
We're inside.
You're inside. The conversation is pleasant enough, but everything seems to indicate that there's like nothing here. What's everybody's passive perception?
What's passive perception?
Your perception plus 10.
That would be 12.
14.
11. I think Sam was the winner on that one last time.
13.
Yeah, I'm at 12 on perception.
Okay. So Sam, you notice that the conversation is very kind of light and meaningless and kind of trivial, talking about the weather, talking about the where people have seen game, that sort of thing. But you see there are like every once in a while you catch these looks back and forth between people as they kind of like move around, serving each other. There's just like these, you're not sure what exactly it means, but there are these looks between people.
Kind of like they're in on something that we're not.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Is that kind of an insight thing? Are they like biding their time? Is someone missing?
Give me an insight check. Whoever would like to.
What's insight?
Insight is not an engineer skill, apparently.
That's what Eureka's for.
All right.
Just FYI, as a human, you need to tell me, we haven't rolled persuasion deception yet, but I get advantage with humans on first contacts.
Oh, perfect. Good to know.
I technically do too, but it hasn't come up.
So Antrayu, Nas, and Ares. Ooh. It looks very much like that sort of unspoken communication, like now it's the sort of thing that you see in the field between people who have worked together a long time. They can just like communicate very quickly with just like a glance or a look or
intuition from familiarity.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Antrayu, you've seen the same thing amongst your people, especially amongst the healers, that sort of just being completely in sync with something. And Ares as well, like you've been around, you've seen a lot of like backroom politics are literally sealed with just that sort of glance.
I let Ares lead the conversation, and I kind of step onto the veranda just to scan, see if we don't get ambushed from people we don't know are coming.
And Treyu starts working through his various herbs and pills in his med kit while they continue engaging.
Perfect.
Doyle would just look at the structure of the hut. He's kind of interested, and at the same time, he's not a super social character to start with.
Okay. All right. So basically, we're going to treat this as Stargate is a bunch of different encounter types that do different things. So we're going to treat this as a almost like a diplomatic function. As you guys get a chance to kind of find out what they're up to, ask questions, ingratiate yourselves to them, all that sort of thing. I realize it's the first time we've done sort of thing like so much else in this game, so we'll just kind of run through it step by step. But First things first is we'll take like a quick 5-minute bio break because I had tea earlier.
Returning the rental.
Yes. But in the meantime, one of the key things for any sort of diplomatic function or a convince encounter is how your character would approach things. You could try logic. You could try playing to their sympathies. You could try basically just your raw charisma. And that will dictate kind of like what skills and what stats you get to roll for various things during the encounter. So just kind of think what your character's approach to a social situation like this would be, and we will be back in like 5 minutes.
Cool. We'll do. I have some ideas.
If anyone is curious, page 138 in the book, running a diplomatic function.
So, kind of curious here. Was it the chocolate or the coffee we gave them?
That could be the surprise twist.
I may have to jump out of Foundry quickly as I taxi home. So if I do, may need to roll that, or maybe I can jump out on my phone. No, I'm good, thank you. Because my gig just ended, so now I can make my way home. But I can't. Where's that Stargate PDF that I had open?
I'm expecting a running joke about Erie's not being able to keep his snake in his neck.
No, yeah, it should definitely be the running joke about like Yuri's can't keep his snake in his pants. That's definitely where I was going with this. He's definitely a quote unquote fuckboy. Considering he's a consort, that's kind of his deal. What
I've started with your belt got stuck in some kind of tree, and the loops on your pants were ripped off, and you don't have a working belt anymore.
what page are we on? Sorry for this thing. What page did you say it was on in the PDF?
It's 134 of the book.
134. Let's take a
Yeah.
look here. I'm going to end up using. Oh, I see. Plot
It's
mechanics.
either logical, sympathetic, or charming.
Oh. Wow. Okay. I feel like it's gonna be. I think I'm gonna. Oh, it's sympathetic. That's why. That makes more either sympathetic or charming. I'll use one of those two.
I'm back. Just made myself an espresso.
Welcome back.
Hey, Lisa. I'm Fox.
Fox, are you on an open mic or are you just pushing by accident?
It was a live mic.
Okay, so everyone has more DP than I do.
More what?
Could you clarify, please?
Yeah.
Determination points. Everyone.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, but you took soldier.
Yeah, I know. As a soldier, I'm less determined apparently than you guys.
More like you're less
Well, I
self-determined.
mean, they don't recruit the best and brightest, right?
So the downside of me rolling advantage on initiative and then you guys being able to use my advantage is that I roll with disadvantage on Moxie. So
See, I have pharmaceutical knowledge, so I can restore certain stats as well a little bit.
so take a look at the,
Pharmaceuticals.
so take a look at the diplomatic actions that we can do on 139. There's like 6 of them. And my guess, our goal is to understand what their relationship with the gold are, and then it's to get them on our side, right?
Yeah, that's most reasonable.
Okay, I'm back. All right. So, for a diplomatic function, everybody will roll their Moxie. The character sheet itself doesn't do this, so I'll just get you to roll a d20 and add either your intelligence or your charisma.
The bonus, right?
Yes.
I'd like that 16.
Right.
Basically, it's like a social initiative.
What's the shorthand for a roll with disadvantage?
If you go down, there's a little dice tray at the bottom of the chat. So,
Yeah, but if I roll 2d20, it gives me a sum of the two.
yeah, but if you click the little dice icon right beside where it says like public roll, whispered roll.
I'm jumping in a cab, guys, so I'll be in out and out. If someone wants to roll for me, that's awesome. But I'll still be on Discord, but until I get home, and then I'll join back.
Okay.
In Foundry when I'm there.
Okay. Will do.
But I'm still here on the phone, and I can talk in a lift. I don't really care. What are they going to hear? A bunch of weird guy talking about stuff? Who cares?
That's what they're paid for.
It's exactly what they're paid for.
Holy shit, I rolled super well. Disadvantage is KL.
Yep.
So advantage is KH.
That's correct.
Right.
Oh shit.
That was for Aries.
Oh, good.
Okay.
I thought Aries already rolled.
Oh,
I
you
did.
Okay.
I rolled like a 20. Not a natural 20, but still high.
Well, we'll average you in the GM's roll and then round down.
So I got the luckiest roll with 15. Wow.
Did you get Sam to roll?
All right. Does Foundry work in tabletop or in a mobile browser?
I don't believe so.
Well, let's try it and see what happens.
Yeah, there's only one way to find it.
Oh, maybe it will work.
Maybe. It might depend on like how powerful your phone or tablet is, so.
It's an iPhone.
Oh, it's intentionally slowed down. Understood.
Shh. Quiet. Okay, I'm back. I am, in fact. Ooh, it seems to be working. Oh, I see Chris rolled a 20. Well, that's inconvenient.
Yeah. You
It
guys
was for you.
Yeah, I thought you hadn't rolled, so because you were like, roll for me. So I was like, okay. All right. So in reverse order, you declare what you would like to do. If you would like to try to persuade or inquire, you do have to risk determination points to do so. The actions are ingratiate, which is basically just making friendly. You will gain a determination point. You can assist somebody else to give them advantage. You can persuade to kind of change their mind or influence them. You can obfuscate, which is attempt to hide crucial information from your opposition. You can inquire to ask specific information about something that's like a yes, no, or, kind of similar low-key type of answer. Or you can thwart, which is try to prevent somebody else from achieving their goals. So at this point, the priest of the village, who is actually the gentleman who's not from this village, the guy who married in, his name is Morais. He is going to actually try to thwart you.
Chris, before you start, can you just take a look at the note I sent you? I don't know if it's relevant or not, and I don't want to bring it up if it isn't.
While Chris is reading that, can someone give me a really quick rundown? I took advantage of the bio break, and things started before I got back.
You need to roll Moxie, and then page 139 has different actions that you can use.
Moxie?
Yep. So yeah, and you declare in opposite order, but then you do your actions in Moxie order.
What do we roll for Moxie?
D20 plus either your intelligence or charisma. All right. So yes, as you're having this dinner, the priest, the gentleman who led the blessing, Morais. He seems. Everybody else is welcoming. He seems more standoffish, if not a little, not antagonistic exactly, but more questioning. More like, he seems to be pressing like, which village are you from? You don't look like any of the others. I've traveled. I've seen some of the other villages. You don't look like any one I've seen from there. Especially as he looks at your medic. So yeah, he is basically trying to undermine you to some extent.
Does he succeed, or he's just declaring right now?
He declares that basically you guys, because you guys all rolled so high, you know that this is what he's up to, so you can plan accordingly. Doyle, what would you like to try to do?
I get the impression that Eries is our social guy, so I'll make an assist on him.
Okay. Sam, what would you like to do?
I'm catching up a little bit. What do you roll for deception? Because it's not a skill.
If you're trying to obfuscate the information,
Skill deception is. It's the.
Oh, there it is. Christ, I'm sorry. I skipped right over it.
no problem.
It deceived you.
So yeah, you can definitely give that a try.
I was just trying to because basically I'm torn between, like, they'd probably either assist or if there's someone that, like, is the person we're talking to the person that would say be Sam's version of being social is usually talking about, like, let's find a common science topic. Like I said, when they were, talking about how they were trying to learn how other cultures did their astronomy. I'm trying to think if there's anything like that I could do under acquire. Just even asking about their
Constellations. Ask them about the constellations.
yeah. Sure. I guess that's almost an inquire. Just how they attract into constellations. Has there been anything interesting in them type thing? So it's almost more of like I'm kind of doing this almost as it's like the distraction play. Sort of inquire.
Okay. Nas, what would you like to do?
Sorry, I'm going to do an inquire. I need to know what their status on their god is. Are they willing or unwilling to stand up against them?
Okay. And Aries, what would you like to do?
I'm ingratiating myself to them.
Okay. All right. Switching back over to the actual order now. Aries, how are you ingratiating yourself to these fine people?
Well, I'm offering food, and I'm sharing stories of. I would imagine I know some sort of cool quip about Arwen as a tale, some sort of fable. So I'm going to use like creative storytelling, or I'm going to dazzle them with some voice of telling them the story of an interesting story about their god that I think that they may not have heard. Something that's good. That's like I'm basically telling mythology in a method that makes them understand that I know who their god is and that I'm welcome, like make them feel like less like an outsider.
Are you using your science fast talk skill there?
No, because that only works for me to use on any of you. That doesn't work for this particular thing.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. So yes, actually give me a cultural, see what you may know about Arwen.
Woohoo! I can do that. Me and culture are friends. I wouldn't say advantage, would I?
No.
Okay.
No, but you'll get advantage to ingratiate yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you know of Arwen, mythologically speaking, he is definitely like a darker god. He tends to present himself as the god of the underworld.
Right. So Hades.
What with a 16, what else you know that probably doesn't exactly jibe with their religion is that he is all of the Goa'uld are insane to some extent. Generally, like megalomaniacal, presenting themselves as gods and everything. He is like a Goa'uld mad scientist. He likes to tinker with technology. He likes to improve technology. But to the extent where even the other Goa'uld kind of have largely ostracized him for his experiments.
Right. So he does weird mad science.
He does weird mad science. He's never been interested in acquisition of power or bringing worlds under his thumb or anything of that nature. He just likes to experiment on people and things.
I was going to say, but a biological component communicator that is hereditary, that's totally in his wheelhouse.
Yeah,
that is
totally.
very much so.
Okay. So weaving the thought process of improvement of oneself and others, I will weave a tale of Arwen's quest for perfection and quest for knowledge and understanding and higher purpose and all that stuff.
Okay. All right. So the people they do pay attention. The speaker, Ninian, as you're telling this tale of Arwen, he kind of looks at Morais. And again, there's that look of, you're probably going to call it recognition. It's the closest thing. But Morais does kind of get a little bit of a smile on his face, understanding that, you're at least knowledgeable. Which is enough to gain you a determination point.
He's talking from experience.
Yes. Ness.
Speaking of talking from experience, has he ever experimented on you and do you hate it? But, polite.
Oh my god.
But, polite. Because I'm using the inquire. So it's by finding an inoffensive way to ask or by seeking information that you can confirm your suspicions, right? But it doesn't give me a specific role.
You're gonna Jack O'Neill this. That's what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
It would actually be your choice of persuasion or deception. And the DC is 11 plus their CR.
Is there a difference in tactic depending on persuasion and deception?
Not really. You can decide whether you're going to use logic or sympathy or charisma. That will determine what stat.
So it's more of a sympathy play than a logic play. I'm not trying to box them into an argument. I'm trying to see what their feelings are.
So that would be wisdom. So on your character sheet, if you look, there's like where the attributes are. There's a little down arrow.
Yep.
And then you can select the attribute and then roll.
For deception or persuasion?
Whichever one you want to use.
Shooting each other is not. Yeah, I mean, listen, there's just something fun.
I have advantage.
Okay. All right. So who are you asking?
It would be the person who is not, because I'm aware of the things that people want to try. So not the guy who's working against us, the other dude.
All right. So Ninian will look and says, "We have Arwen has blessed us with abilities that allow us to hunt safer and to give us some measure of protection."
I hope that hasn't cost the rest of your people too much.
It is. It's nice to know that if you go hunting in the woods, you do not have to stay right next to your friend in order to speak with them. I could go following one trail, and Morais there could go follow another trail, and we'll be able to still communicate.
In terms of fascinating, I'm always like, that's fascinating. I'm wondering if that ever, that always works well, or does it ever not? In the sense of, I'm basically asking, do people heads explode? Is there a trade-off to this, or just everyone has it and it always works flawlessly, or do people born without eyes because of it?
It's never failed us. It's a gift.
Okay, so they're happy with him.
They seem to be happy with the gift. All right, Sam.
So I'm kind of I'm the chatter in this one, I guess. I'm asking them sort of because there's a seasonal shift of the constellations, and how if they've noticed, if there's any interesting readings that they've had. For all that I've said that I'm an astronomer or astrophysicist, not an astrologist, I can sort of fake it, because I've had, it's the idea of well, I don't want to do the high tech astronomy, so I have to kind of talk about it in analogy. I actually have the skill that makes me good at analogies, but I'm using enough. Not relevant to this, so I don't know what you'd want for a roll on it.
Let's call it a science roll.
Sorry, I tried to get my sheet up. $18.
So what information were you trying to get from them as a result?
I guess. So, I'm trying to figure out how to word this. Sorry. We know that there's some religion stuff going on. Sometimes the stars can be part of that. I'm trying to sort of figure out if that is part of their stock and trade, and sort of like a prophecy type thing, or if it's literally like, oh no, they're just, the stars are nice. These are, yeah, we have legends. Like, trying to sort of figure out the importance of them and the like.
Um, the trying to think how to phrase it.
Well, we're not necessarily role playing it, right? You can just simply tell us what it is and then tell us the impression we get around it, right?
Yeah. The impression you get is that they don't pay too much attention to the stars, but they are aware that the gods reside in the heavens.
And that's information. And also, this sort of line of inquiry keeps me from Sam is less likely to put their foot in their own mouth with it.
Gotcha. Yeah, they do view the heavens are the place where the gods reside, which gels with pretty much every culture with the Goa'uld. But they don't seem to pay any sort of. You get the
There's
feeling,
not like, when the stars are in this alignment, the Goa'uld are coming, or their god is visiting.
Exactly. You do get the sense that for most of these people, it's largely a lot of the religious stuff is just something they say as opposed to something they believe.
It's like going to church on Easter.
Yeah. Morais, however, is a fervent believer. And Dora was just helping Aries, so the two of you are getting on the gangbangs, and some of the folks in the village are very interested in the stories that Aries is telling, and Doyle kind of backing him up here and there where he can interject something. It's weird. They're interested, but they're still very reserved. They don't let a whole lot slip. Morais, however. So, as you're telling these tales of Arwen, you can see he's agitated, and he's sending in little interjections here and there, correcting stories according to his view as opposed to what you're saying. More about how Arwen is the lord, the lord of the underworld, the one that everyone meets eventually, and it is best to keep him appeased so he does not come for you too soon, so he doesn't send his hounds after you too quickly. And when he mentions, being sure that the hounds are not sent so quickly, there is definitely a kind of a hush that falls over the others.
Well, I know what I'm doing next turn.
Okay. Next round, Morais. Morais is going to try to. What's he gonna do? I think he's going to try to obfuscate and try to hide crucial information. That's what he's going to do. Doyle, what would you like to do?
That's a good question. I guess I'll inquire a bit more about their own technologies, anything that's not natural to them.
Okay. And try you.
I think I'll try and thwart Maurice there with some insight and cleverly asked questions.
Okay. So that will give him disadvantage on his roll.
Yeah.
All right. Sam.
So, all right. So we have that. So more the guy who's really like he's being really nitpicky about the stories of the god. He doesn't seem to give a damn about the constellations. It sounds like correct.
Correct.
Shoot. So my specialty is astrophysics, but I'm gonna start sort of making trying to see if I can get stories like sort of almost like encouraging stories that talk about like that relate to me. It's like geography, and since it's the god of the underworld, the cave where no one should go type stories. So I don't know how to describe that. I don't know if I can do it under this action. I guess I'm trying to encourage our guy to like tell the stories that are going to get the local priest to correct. Or like, hey, what about this story? And I'm going to, of course, me not having this culture is going to sort of, I'm going to be giving these like vague details because, standard underworld god and like, you're talking about how there was this cave and was it to the north or to the south sort of inquiry and try to get the guy to like, no, this is what it is.
What's your goal?
I'm trying to see if there's a place of particular interest related to their god, aka the Goa'uld.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Right, and since we're getting reactions and corrections through the stories, we've eliminated that they have any part that very little of their faith has to do with the stars. So I'm trying to see if there's places of particular geographic interest in relation to communication, communing, and possible sightings of their god.
Nas.
So now that I have an idea of what they're going about, NAS has come out with a logical construct on how to get them to come forward. So first step, which is what's next round, is convince them or persuade them that a god that hasn't been around for some time is probably less important than a god who shows up today. It's kind of where I'm going. And I want to persuade them that my goal is for them to ascertain that something that hasn't been around is less interesting than something that has been around. So I'm trying to position ourselves as not the new gods. That's not where I'm going, but that if gods do fight and you need to pick sides, you better pick the one that's been around than the one that hasn't.
That actually gives me a question. Do we actually keep the same type of diplomatic action each round?
No, you can try different tacks. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I misunderstood that. I'm not going to bother changing because that would add to confusion. But good to know if there's another round. Thank you.
Yep. Ares.
I'm gonna find out more about their gift.
Okay. Perfect. So Ares can make a persuasion roll.
I am gonna use one of my superpowers.
Okay.
Beach. 30.
What's
30
that?
here. 30 here. You understand?
Hold on one second, guys.
30 minutes?
Yep.
It's 30. The speed limit is 30.
He's not rolling fast enough.
Well, that does sound like a potentially quite awkward situation.
Just trying to get somebody's yelling at my driver here. I'm trying to roll, but I'm gonna use the advantage I get because I can make it an advantage roll based on the fact that it's a wisdom or a intelligence roll, right?
Yes.
but it's not letting me in the mobile version. So if you give me 2 seconds, if you want to skip me, and I'm home like right now. Give me 2 minutes, and I'll log in.
Okay, perfect. All right, Nas, you want to make your persuasion roll? Oh, not 20. All right. So yeah.
Who cares about old dusty gods?
So as you bring up this fact that their god has not been, in their lives for apparently quite a while, you do see like some nods here and there. Again, most of these people aren't terribly religious to begin with, but you can see that Morais is just like fuming.
Trying to hold on to power, yeah.
Definitely trying to hold on to power. And at this point, I'll say probably since you guys are trying to ingratiate yourselves and make friends, this is probably the point where the chocolate bars and stuff have been passed out.
Yeah, after that comment like that and people get like nerves come up, definitely time to start applying the chocolate.
Yeah.
And the coffee, apparently, because that might be an issue.
Yes. So you introduce these people to chocolate and coffee.
Oh, just great. 2 stimulants.
And there is a noticeable change in the timbre of the room, the feel of the room. There's a noticeable change. Whereas before, even with Morais feeling on edge and being like almost hostile, there was still this feeling of peace, but that's gone now. And you can also see everybody looks confused.
Sorry, I'm back now. I have Foundry open. Am I rolling?
You can roll persuasion.
Right. And then I can use my advantage on that.
So, although we don't know now, in retrospect, it's their changed biology that had a funny reaction with whatever we gave them.
Nice.
So yes,
Sometimes you throw things out at debriefings, and it helps affect the scene.
Yeah.
Did my roll come through?
No, it's not.
Yeah, I'll have to refresh. Hold on 1 second here.
Yep, no problem. So as it quickly flashes back to the briefing room, all of you kind of clue in at the moment that, the stimulants, the refined sugar, probably did something to their equilibrium.
They're different, slightly different than human biology.
Yes. Oh, at
bad.
18. Right. Sorry. What were you trying to persuade him of again?
Tell me more about their gift.
Okay. Funny timing, because they say perhaps we can show you. And one of the women, Afana, basically she kind of like sits and she kind of stares at you, and then you feel like this presence in your brain. Not strong. It's not like forcing its way in. It's very gentle, almost just like if you were walking down the street and you're like, "Hey, how's it going?" sort of thing.
So there's a third voice in his head now?
There's a third voice in his head now.
Well, this is going to go real well.
And in your head, and you hear the gift is a way for us to be open with one another, honest with one
God,
another.
they're beta Zeds. Oh God, empaths.
And yeah, it's like a weird let's call it a science roll.
Ooh, I'm good at those.
I find it very odd that for everything that Ares does, he's a scientist and not a diplomat. I think that's great.
Yeah, he's a relic hunter, right? Like that's the whole point.
So yeah, it's like a weird combination of actual telepathic communication, um, along with some degree of empathy projection, because like when you hear that voice, there's just that immediate, you know, reaction to kind of like clamp down to fight back, but there's a calming presence to it as well.
Huh. Is there a way I can relay this to them without letting the people we're hanging out with know?
Let's call this. Let's go this like an insight check.
Otherwise, I'm going to make a bad Star Trek reference.
Yeah.
Insight? Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah.
Normal roll.
The dice absolutely seem to be loving you guys today. So.
Well, now that we're not in a firefight, I'm doing great.
Yeah. So yeah, you can convey to them that this information. You can't convey the actual information to them, but you can convey to them that
Yes.
You'll have to find a way to actually tell them, but you can like just kind of give them that like nod sort of thing.
Can I write Deanna Troy on like a notepad and show it to them?
Sure.
I mean, Star Trek is a thing.
I feel
Only
like
Stargate is not a thing in the Stargate universe.
Right.
But then again, it is.
So anyway, yeah, that's my thought process. Is I'll use I just write Deanna Troy, and I like make sure that the major and the captain, that all the Tari can see it because they
to be fair,
know what that means.
You could also say, "Your voice reminds me of my cousin Deanna," or something like that.
I'll just say that your voice reminds me of my cousin Deanna Troy.
And I'm sure the scientists get it, but the soldier does not.
Oh.
Even better. It's the best part when you don't get any of the metaphors. It makes being even better.
Better Deanna than your Aunt Lexwana.
Oh. Except that I'm like channeling part of Luxwana to play this character, right?
Look, I love Lexwana. I will make jokes about her, but I genuinely love her.
Gene Roddenberry's wife, everybody.
Yep.
I'm uncertain of the reference to which you are making.
Okay. Sam, you were trying to find out if there was any points of religious significance, any geographical features.
I was originally trying to build off what was it Ares was doing with the story thing.
Yep.
Because that seemed to be the direction. I think had I realized we could switch, it probably would have been an assist, but I'm okay with keeping it as inquiry because that's what I said.
Yep. Make a persuasion roll, but we'll say advantage because you're building off the groundwork that's already been laid.
Okay. Not a culture check?
Culture works, yeah.
I'm okay if you want to. Is it still with advantage or just plain culture?
Yeah, no, it's still advantage.
Sweet. Yes.
Nice.
All right. So Mars looks and he says, there are many areas that are sacred. There is the entrance to the underworld, and then there is the Cave of the Dead. And just because he feels the need to kind of prove himself at this point. The entrance to the underworld is through the forest, to the dark forest, protected by the creatures. And the cave is several days' journey to the north of this village. Everyone here knows that.
I will make sure to respond with how impressive his knowledge is.
He's not mentioning the Stargate. He's actually talking about a cave, right, though?
The gate to the underworld is in the direction of the Stargate.
But it sounds like it's further away.
It doesn't. It sounds like it's about, you guys traveled about, not quite a day to get here, so that's on par. But the Cave of the Dead to the north, you have no idea what that is.
But the gate to the underworld, we're talking about the Stargate.
Oh yeah, it's definitely the Stargate.
Okay. And Tryu, so you're trying to deflect Morris as he tries to obfuscate information.
Yeah.
So that works because Sam got advantage on the roll and rolled a nat 20, so that works perfectly. You will actually get a determination point for that.
Ooh.
And Doyle, you were inquiring as well.
Yeah, a bit about technology, but in this case, we came here because there was a rumor of long distance communications or something. So I'm just going to ask questions as how do you set up these fairs where all the villages meet? I mean, these villages must be far from each other. So I'm asking questions along that line.
Gotcha. Give me a
Investigation?
investigation. Makes sense, yeah.
That's
Woohoo!
cute. You're asking about the range on that.
That will build on what I found out.
Perfect. Ninian says we when there's need for the villages to get together for a fair, for a celebration, occasionally for a large hunt, or to trade, we simply communicate. Much as we do on our hunting parties, much as the fauna has shown your friend here.
It's interesting that they don't have a word for it.
Gift is the word they use for it.
They refer to it as a gift or simply as communication.
Chris, before we call for actions, I have a question for you out of character.
Yep.
This is part of a flashback, right?
Yes.
So do you have an expectation that we build towards the fight with our decisions? Or is this really like carte blanche and you're going to try to figure out a way to put us in the line of fire?
It is largely carte blanche, but there is a reason why the Jaffa will be showing up.
Whether or not we decide to go and try and investigate the Cave of the Dead.
Yeah. You don't necessarily have to worry about that. I have a couple of different ways that it can get to that, so you don't have to push to that.
Okay, so I guess my question was, do you need help get us to the firefight? So the answer is no, you don't need help.
The answer
We'll
is
figure it
no.
out.
you guys have given me enough at this point, so. All right. Morris, he was going to try to obfuscate some information.
That didn't work out for him.
That did not work out well. Yeah, still fairly decent. Everybody give me an insight check. Difficulty 14.
A what?
Insight.
Insight.
No.
Is it to discern lies? Because if it is, I get a bonus.
It's not a lie. He's hiding stuff.
Damn.
Apparently, I was too caught up in the other part of inciting him.
I think he's being completely straightforward right now.
So Ness, you can tell.
Ooh, did I fail?
Yes, you did.
Sam, take a Eureka point.
Oh, that's right. Sweet. I rolled a nat. So I balanced my nat 20 with a nat 1.
Yeah.
Eureka. Eureka. But Nash, you can tell that Morine, he is definitely like off his game. And he's at the point where he's looking for this function, this dinner, whatever, to be over.
So now's the time to bring down the hammer. I look at Yuri's like, time to crush him.
So for this, we won't bother doing the initiative at this point. There's not too much more information to be gained from these people.
Nope.
And Morais very he kind of pushes his plate aside like in a huff. And it's weird, like especially for Aries, you would notice. You would expect after your little commune with the woman there, you would expect that you would feel that, and you don't. And when nobody reacts to it in a fearful manner, Morais just leaves. He just storms out.
Oh man, I was gonna stand up and make him sit down with my with the low voice.
You could still do that. He's on his way out.
Oh yeah, I will stand up and eyes flash white. Get back here and sit down, servant.
Make
still gonna use,
a intimidation check.
That's going to be hilarious because I just made a whole play about the gods who aren't around versus the gods who are.
Wait, can I spend Eureka on that? I don't think I can. What can I spend Eureka on?
Can I stand up with him to be intimidating and assist?
Absolutely.
Oh no, it's this is not intelligent wisdom, or is it?
No, it's charisma.
All right, intimidation it is.
But you do get advantage from the major also standing up.
Yay!
Ooh.
No. Whoa!
Right. So yeah, so he starts to make for the door, and you stand up. He turns.
Make my presence known.
He turns and he glares at you. And then he smiles. He says, Arwen will be happy with this. And everybody give me a perception check.
Oh, that's the one I can. That's a wisdom. I can definitely blow in a Eureka on this one.
That was a 12.
Jesus Christ.
Wow,
so
I get a good
another
check.
Eureka point.
All right.
I apparently wasted my roll. That's a wasted a Eureka point.
But technically you get the point back.
Oh, I know. That's great.
All right. But Doyle, you notice as he turns, something kind of drops from his sleeve into his hand. Something very small.
Okay, and it looks technological, or is it a rock or a stick?
It looks 1,000% technological.
Yeah, like is that kind of technological?
Or like a panic button technological.
Side alien.
With a 20, it looks like basically to you as a human engineer, it looks almost like a very small detonator device.
Oh no, he's holding a thermal detonator.
I made that joke last game.
Hits
Well-
him back with a bomb.
At least he's not kissing his sister.
Fair point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this was a nice meal. I think we're done today. Thank you.
So long, and thanks for all the fish.
So as Joe says, he just glares, and then from practically out of nowhere, teleportation rings drop down around him, and he's gone.
Ah,
The only thing I'm going to say is our debrief we started with, we have no idea why they were chasing us or how they got summoned.
And then we
that-
remembered.
And that's gone out the window.
Well,
And
good news is we know why now.
No, we said we didn't know how it turned so quickly.
correct. And then shortly thereafter, you hear that sound again
in front of us or outside?
outside.
Oh yeah. This is the part where we have to run.
I believe that we have company, Major.
So
I
I'm
think
at the door.
Iris's line is, "That did not work the way it was supposed to. We should go."
And that's where, we kind of met our group running, being chased by the Jaffa that teleported in. Very obviously, at the beck and call of Morice. And unbeknownst,
Telepathy.
and
They had
yeah.
telepathy. And, sort of.
And then that will bring us back to the briefing rooms. We already did the chase and the combat.
And nobody died.
That is true. No one has perished on this mission. So
None of us have perished. We have no idea what the Goa'uld did to those people once they started agreeing with us.
likely nothing.
So
It's
lawyer,
not
go
without
back.
question that other things could have occurred to them, but we were the immediate concern, and then the other guests.
Oh yeah, and then the other gold showed up.
However, General,
yes.
those rings, as far as I'm aware, are short-range teleportation, aren't they?
Yes.
It could have been.
So there's more to P3X782 than we thought.
Or there's a ship in orbit, I guess.
Ship in orbit would be problematic. But yes, they're short-range planetary transport.
I would not rule out a ship in orbit based on what Iris had said of their god.
I don't want to put holes in things. Is that how the Tories say it? But if they had a ship in orbit, they would have sent something to counteract the Death Glider that came through the rings, or it came through the gate.
Aries, give me just a raw intelligence roll.
We were only there shortly. It may have arrived after us.
Don't
Possible.
ships normally have like a gate on board, and when they get close to a planet, it kind of like
I'm
does
gonna
gate?
spend that Eureka again.
Okay. All right, Iris, your best recollection, that particular type of Death Glider has long been out of use by the Goa'uld. They haven't fielded one of those in probably the better part of 5 years.
That Death Glider was outdated equipment. That means that Baal, or what is the name of that thing we ran across? Either Morgan or... Oh, yeah.
Arwen, who was there on site, Erwin.
No,
was
the other one.
The rings. So there's Arwen's people are the ones who are chasing us away.
Yes, but it was Morgan or Bade, I believe was the other name.
Yes.
Lilor?
Not Baylor, Bade. So either Bade or Morgan are using outdated equipment. That doesn't ring well with Morgan's style.
That doesn't change the fact that there's more to this place as he keeps looking through the papers, fumbling for the name or the code name of this particular P3X site. There's more to this here. There are Goa'uld on this planet, either in orbit or on here, because the rings are short-term devices. And if the leader of this or the religious leader of this town has some way to call them, then it's either safe to assume that every religious leader would have to call them, or this specific town is special in some way. In both of those cases, P2X543 is an important site that requires a second round of reconnaissance.
Would the village itself not be determined as important simply due to the fact it was the closest one in proximity to the gate?
I'm not saying that's not true. I'm saying it's either that town is important or every religious leader has it. And in both cases, this planet is worth a second look.
How are we going to second look in a safe manner without attracting attention?
Well, I strongly suggest we send another UAV over. I mean, we could see if there's an ongoing turf war between those two gold that's ongoing, or what's happening, right? If there is a ship in orbit, they would have been able to repel that small assault. If there isn't, and there's a ground war that's happening, well, there are civilians' lives being lost that we need to intercede here. We can't just let Goa'uld run across a planet rampaging just because they're at war and casualties be damned.
There are stories, and in fact, I'm sure in Tari fiction about better breeding. It would stand to reason that these empathic humans would be a great asset to as troops, as servants, spies, diplomats, all of those things.
By servants, he means people who work and earn their living, not slaves.
No, not at all. I absolutely meant slaves. This is how the Goa'uld we're talking about. I'm not saying we should do that sort of thing. This is the whole reason I joined with the Tari in the first place, is to not enslave people.
Right. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I thought you said there's value for us to go in and save these people from this.
No, I was speaking of the fact that why these two Goa'ulds are fighting over these people would be because there's like a prized stallion at a derby with a hat. You would have better breeding in your stock, which meant that it can do more things and is more advantageous to you in the long run.
Speaking of advantageous in breeding, and I don't mean to segue on that because it's gross, but what does that mean for a host that could use telepathic powers?
It could mean any number of things. It is interesting to me.
Would it potentially mean they could be building towards could it potentially tie into a culture where speech is secondary?
No, I'm talking about a freaking Goa'uld who can walk up to someone and that person say, "What's the password?" and just think of the password, and the Goa'uld know the password because they're able to read that person's mind.
I'm thinking about the Jaffa, I think you said, that don't speak, that don't make sound. And I don't know what sort of, depending on how they're raising them, what sort of theory of mind they have as a culture and as a species, and how that could affect. So theoretically, a species that developed telepathy first and speech second could have a very different hierarchy involving a theory of mind in relation to other people. And that could be a very interesting and powerful tool and change how they're controlled.
Indeed.
I'm talking about strictly on a security level. If a Goa'uld were to walk up and you say, "I need the code phrase to not shoot you," he would know the code phrase and would be able to penetrate several layers of security.
In its current state, as I experienced on the planet, it does not work like that. It could develop into that sort of thing, perhaps with merging of a symbiote. But that would require us to put a symbiote in one of them and see how that works. And there are a stunning lack of them here. And certainly not. We have a whole rule about that sort of thing.
But do you think something like this could be responsible for the groups that we've been meeting that make no sound? Or was the experience too different?
I believe it is two different things. It would not surprise me that the Jaffa of Baelor are just have their tongues cut out or something.
I think we're looking.
Sound can be made without a tongue. It's just enunciation that's lost.
Sorry, Doyle, you were saying something?
I think we're looking too short term at the security issue here. Finding out the password is one thing, but do you realize these an infiltrating Goa'uld could communicate his findings long range with no tools, no radios, no nothing that's detectable?
That is also a good point.
That is a terrifying thought, Doyle. Thank you.
Simply because we didn't have the means of detecting it doesn't mean it's undetectable.
For this time being, it's the same. until we find a solution.
But that doesn't mean that the solution might not be readily at hand, potentially.
Okay, push comes to shove, General. There are many reasons we need to get these people out of Dodge. It is not okay that casualties are mounting because of a turf war between two Gould groups. Secondly, these people are a potential security risk if the Gould get their hands on them.
I agree, Major. We'll send a probe. We'll see what's going on, and your team will be ready to disembark as soon as I give the go ahead.
For this evening, the Rachel Maddow show starts right now. Good evening, Rachel. Good evening,
Recover,
that's my friend.
save any of the people from that village. Determine if there's anything else on that planet that we need.
Understood.
Sir, can we, when the drone is launched, can we see the footage live?
Yes. I'll have Kaylee make sure that you're aware of when the launch is happening.
Thank you, sir. In the meantime, Doyle, your assumption scares the bejesus out of me. Aries, you are firsthand at the experience of what happened. Atreyu, you're our medical expert. And Captain, how the hell do we stop them from reading our minds? Let's brainstorm on that, or let you guys brainstorm on that until that launch happens, because
I'll try, but I'm an astrophysicist, not a psychic, or not a psychologist.
And it's not like we have a subject to test and study.
well, Aries lived it. And,
Yes.
and maybe Atreyu can do a scan on him and find out if there's, I don't know, like midichlorians in his blood now. I don't know.
We can certainly
Nakura.
investigate, but it did take specific effort. Otherwise, our ruse would have been over long before we began.
Here, quick personal note before we start. Tonight is.
Right. So the general stand up and said, "Right. I agree with your assessment. This is a potential threat, and we cannot overlook the fact that lives are lost. I agree with the Major's assessment. So get some shut eye, get some rest, and as soon as ready, we'll launch the probe, and we will see about an evac."
Thank you, General. Aries, are you consent to being scanned to see if there's any trace of whatever was there?
Yes.
I look at Atreyu, who's our resident expert in medicine. I'm like, do your thing. I don't know.
Well, we'll head over to, obviously, the med center and see what we might be able to see.
Perfect. All right. So since we're basically set up for next episode, with you guys going back to this planet, but before we break, I will get a medicine roll with advantage.
Out of character, is my character overreacting here, or is he's trying to use your guys' skill to figure out what we can do about this brain scanning thing? Is he out of line here? Am I out of line?
That's terrible.
No, you're pretty smart.
Yeah, no, it's
like it's
out
a
of
good
character.
thought
Yeah,
process.
no, it's a great thought.
So over the next couple of hours, you run some tests on Ares. There doesn't seem to be anything at first glance. It's kind of weird, kind of doing medical stuff on a Tok'ra with an active symbiote that's putting him back together.
Literally.
There are 2 brain scans at the same time.
I thought you said you regenerated. Shouldn't you have already been healed by now?
Oh yeah, long rest technically.
But there does seem to be some residual synaptic activity that you can't quite place. You can't quite put your finger on it.
There's
Oh, no,
something
my
unusual
Thetans.
happening in your prefrontal cortex.
My thetans are high.
Your thetans are higher. You're not clear. John Travolta will be so disappointed.
I will look at Erie straight in the eyes and say, "Can you see me?" As if trying to speak to whoever's connected to his brain.
No response.
Well, I tried.
If you know what brain part is being activated or whatever, there's got to be some kind of electrical wave or magnetic field that matches the resonance of that thing that we can generate.
Right.
Yes, with a little time, we can likely isolate it and identify the wave frequencies that we'd have to be wary of, and potentially find a dampening solution.
I mean, it won't detect, but it may just prevent.
So basically, over time, while you guys are getting ready for them to get the probe ready to launch and all that stuff, which will take them a couple of hours to calibrate everything. And just so you guys have some information going forward. And Trey, you can determine that the brain activity is reminiscent of somebody forming memories. And your best guess would be it's kind of like, if when you talk to somebody a bunch, you recognize that person, so it's like a recognition type of thing. You guess that whoever he contacted or whoever contacted him left almost like a calling card, so his brain will be able to identify that again.
So it's like facial recognition, but like thought recognition kind of deal?
Yeah, and not even like a conscious recognition, but the sort of thing, like it would make it easier for that particular person to contact him again that way.
Yeah, like being able to, you're just walking through a crowd and then you realize you actually recognize someone on the other side of it.
Yeah, it's like when you text somebody and then they get your number.
Like you recognize the handwriting or what's there, and then you realize who sent it to you. Yeah, okay.
Exactly. But you also notice that his unique physiology seems to be correcting that. Like it recognizes that it's wrong on some level.
So yourself or your companion recognize the inherent impropriety of that and are recovering it as well.
Is that what we're calling it? Companion?
It is not an unattractive word.
And is it the right?
We are. Iris is very in thought about this. Like no one's ever asked him that.
Yeah, we'll get back to that. I'll let you stew.
Well, there's more genders under the star than simple binary, after all.
It is currently a he.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
So as we kind of fade out on the the medical information, the fact that there is some brain alteration happening that the symbiote seems to be able to correct, we will fade out, and next session we'll be going back to the planet in a more straightforward and linear game.
Return to P2X543.
With every Goa'uld and Jaffa you can see.
Stargate, the Crucible, the Return.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you left the planet, there was Death Gliders and some Jaffa and at least one Goa'uld on the planet who seemed to be a warrior. I'm sure it'll be fine. But everybody does get 3 mission points.
3 or is that what you said? 3?
3.
That change.
So we're 3/5 of the way from leveling.
Yep.
That's the number. And I will heal, obviously.
Yes.
Yes.
Everybody will heal. Basically, it's going to take them several hours to get the everything ready. So we'll pick up next session with you guys watching the probe footage and so you can start to make a determination from that point.
Cool.
For the record, when that UAV comes on, NASA's going to be crossing his fingers that there isn't widespread devastation.
But yes, next session will be a much more straightforward and more traditional approach to things.
Chris, do
Yes.
you want to have a debrief on how that went, considering it was our first like mid-session kind of like start?
We'll probably do that over Discord. It was an interesting experiment. I don't think I would necessarily do it again, or I'd structure it differently.
Maybe a
Yeah,
different structure, yeah.
different structure might not be a bad idea.
So
It's kind of where I was going. I liked the starting in the middle. I liked that debate around the table, but we'll talk about it, I guess, on Discord off of the live voice
perfect.
But
stream.
it was an interesting idea.
It's one of those things you gotta try different ideas, and sometimes they work, and sometimes they don't, and sometimes you're like, it could be tweaked.
Well, that
Still
was the one
fun
thing that
regardless.
that was the one thing that I mentioned in Discord. I'm super glad we had the courage to try new things, even if it's early on.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that.
So, but yes, next game will be a much more straightforward game.
I'm still looking forward to stealing a spaceship.
I
It'll
promise.
happen.
I promise before the season ends, you will get a chance to steal a spaceship.
Screw that. Let's have him pilot the UAV.
Gone, baby, gone.
That's a possibility as well. They are drones, so
Yeah, I have a pretty good piloting skill. I think it's +4.
perfect. So yeah, we'll get Doyle to do some piloting next time.
That'd be wicked.
Perfect. All right. So thank you guys, and thanks for indulging my weird little experiment.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah. Thanks.
Have a nice evening.
And
Have a nice evening.
we will see everybody next week.
Yep.
You know what we forgot? Intro music this time.
Yes. I think maybe I didn't have the playlist playing.
I mean, I usually mute Foundry because it's sound that plays over you guys speaking, so I can't listen to it anyway.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, we will see everybody next week.
Take care.
Have a good
care,
night,
everybody.
guys.
Thanks, it was fun.
Bye.
Good